Welcome to the Me the Money Show. I'm Dan Barnes, Editorial Director at Markets Media Europe, and joining me today is Terry Flanagan, Editor of Global Trading. Terry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dan. Always a pleasure.
So can you talk us through some of the articles that you've been putting together for the latest issue? There certainly seems to be a trend of discussion around what's happening on people's trading desks, where they're trading, and how to future-proof their trading desks.
Sure. A really strong issue of global trading for the second quarter. As you know, global trading is the tagline is by the buy side for the buy side. So it's meant to be really anchored by buy side source content and for the primarily buy side audience. And a couple of the articles, the cover was Drew Miyawaki, who's head of global equity trading at Legal and General Investment Management America, about trading from home during the COVID-19 crisis. Really good. We had a cover. He was at his home office. There was a Peloton bike in the background. There was some artwork by probably one of his kids on one of the doors. It was a true home office, which kind of set the theme for the article. And really, he gave a wide-ranging discussion about his experience working from home. He said, he's been a trader for a long time. Work from home has been a thing in financial services, but trade from home, not so much. It's always been a sense you need to be on the trading desk. Drew personally, was not a fan of trading from home. He has come around has warmed up to the notion to a certain extent. He said some of the advantages: meetings are shorter, email chains, which used to be long and extensive, now replaced with real time editing, document sharing, and just overall, it seems to be a certain streamlining of how people work. There are downsides, of course. He says there's a vocal sharing of information on a physical trading desk that you can't replicate remotely. Training younger staff isn't as easy, and also just the general camaraderie of the trading desk isn't there. But he's certainly open-minded about trading from home going forward as a tool in the toolbox. I'm sure no one expects to be trading from home all the time like we have been, but I think it will be an element of the trading desk.
Absolutely. And then Lynn Challenger, who's the global head of order generation and trading at UBS Asset Management, also then gave an insight into his working day, didn't he?
Yeah, he was talking about the relationship between the buy side and the sell side, kind of the evolution of that, how it stands, where it's come, where it's going forward. Some of the real interesting points, one of the questions was asked was, what do sell side brokers do well for buy side? A couple of things he highlighted specifically. He said there's a certain element of creative risk management. The sell side is able to leverage its balance sheets to provide risk to the buy side, which is very important these days. Sell side really does well kind of a consultation on automation and technology for the buy side, and also helping with cost reduction. Less well, he indicated, or where there's room for improvement, he said the buy side and the sell side can both work together better, more efficiently to create common utilities and standards. I also talked more, about going forward, and he said transparency is a really key element to the buy side sell side relationship presently and going forward. In his view, regulation hasn't been really made much of an impact as far as transparency, because the buy side has already demanded transparency, and they've had the clout to get the transparency that they need. So he said transparency is a key point to the buy side sell side relationship going forward.
That's great. And then finally, you had an article which was looking at the future proofing of the trading desk, very appropriate given the challenging circumstances most trading desks feel like they're under now. What would you summarize as being the key points from that?
Sure. Well, this was with Simon Stewart. He's head of European equity trading for Capital Group. And right, as you said, the topic was future-proofing the trading desk, largely in terms of staffing, but not entirely in terms of staffing. And some of the points he made, he said certain skills are critical for a trader. There are certain technical skills and also certain personal skills. He made the point that very rare does an individual trader have all of these skills, but it's critical for the trading desk itself to have all of these skills when you look at all the traders on the desk. So it's fine if a trader only is really good at one or two things, as long as the trading desk in aggregate has all these things. He was also talking about how critical it is to establish the right balance between man and machine. Certainly, automation technology is huge, but there's a risk of over-automating, really. he made the point that in times of high volatility and high stress in markets, the human input becomes more important. And really, just the broader question of the article itself, how to future proof the trading desk. He brought up a couple key points. He said diversity is critical. That's when he said diversity, he meant gender, race, generational, and economic. He said it's also very important that every voice is heard on a trading desk, and this is important in ensuring an open dialogue to kind of set the path of the trading desk going forward. And a couple other things he said, a little more specific things. He said it's important to not fear technology, not fear technology as something that's going to take human jobs, but rather something that's going to supplement and make human traders more efficient. And lastly, data. He said data, can't be overestimated in terms of its importance, both presently and going forward.
That's great. Terry, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.